There is a box on the Social Security application that the majority of seniors skip right past without reading. Not because they're in a hurry, not because they're careless, because nobody, not the SSA representative, not the financial advisor, not the tax preparer, ever sat down and explained what that box means or what happens when you fill it in correctly. And the cost of skipping it, in real dollars every month for the rest of a retirement, can be staggering. Today I'm going to tell you exactly what that box is, what it triggers, and how it connects to a series of Social Security strategies that most seniors never use. Strategies that can permanently add hundreds of dollars to a monthly check at every income level, in almost every situation. My name is Lucian Vane. I've spent years studying Social Security rules, filing strategies, and the specific provisions that most seniors never hear about until it's too late to use them. The pattern I see over and over is this: seniors file their Social Security application the same way they'd fill out any government form. They answer what's asked, skip what they don't understand, and assume the system will take care of the rest. The system does not take care of the rest. The system pays you what you filed for. And if you skipped a box that would have triggered a higher benefit, or a correction, that money is gone. Let me show you exactly what I mean. The box I'm referring to is the section of the Social Security application that asks whether you receive, or expect to receive, a pension based on work that was not covered by Social Security. Most people read that question, don't immediately understand what not covered by Social Security means, and either check no or skip it entirely. That is the mistake. Here is what work not covered by Social Security means in plain English. Some jobs, particularly government jobs, did not participate in the Social Security system. Teachers in many states, firefighters, police officers, federal employees hired before 1984, railroad workers, employees of some state and local government agencies. If you worked in one of those jobs and earned a pension from it, even if you also worked other jobs and paid into Social Security, that pension can trigger two specific provisions that dramatically affect your Social Security benefit. Those two provisions are the Windfall Elimination Provision, called the WEP, and the Government Pension Offset, called the GPO. Both of them can reduce your Social Security benefit, sometimes significantly, and both of them are applied incorrectly, or more commonly never challenged, by a significant percentage of the seniors they affect. Understanding these two provisions, and knowing when and how to challenge them, is where the $400 a month we mentioned in the title actually comes from for many seniors. Let me explain each one. The Windfall Elimination Provision, WEP, affects people who worked in jobs not covered by Social Security and earned a pension from those jobs, but also worked other jobs where they did pay into Social Security. The WEP modifies the formula the SSA uses to calculate your Social Security benefit, and it almost always results in a lower benefit than you would have received without it. Here is how the normal Social Security benefit formula works in simplified terms. The SSA takes your average indexed monthly earnings, your career earnings averaged over your top 35 years, and applies a formula that replaces a higher percentage of lower earnings and a lower percentage of higher earnings. For someone with only Social Security covered earnings, the formula works the way it was designed. For someone with a non-covered pension, the SSA assumes they had low lifetime earnings, because their non-covered years don't show up in the Social Security record. So the formula treats them like a low earner and gives them the higher replacement percentage, which the SSA considers a windfall. The WEP adjusts the formula to reduce that replacement percentage. The maximum WEP reduction in 2025 is $587 per month. Now here is where the challenge opportunity comes in, and where many seniors are being penalized more than they should be. The WEP has a protection built into it. The WEP reduction cannot exceed half of your non-covered pension amount, and it is completely eliminated if you have 30 or more years of substantial earnings in Social Security covered employment. If you have between 21 and 29 years of substantial Social Security earnings, the WEP reduction is partially reduced on a sliding scale. The more SS-covered years you have, the smaller the WEP reduction. Here is what this means in practice. Many seniors who worked government jobs also worked private sector jobs for many years, and they may have accumulated enough Social Security covered years to reduce or eliminate the WEP entirely. But the SSA's calculation is only as accurate as the earnings record on file. If your earnings record is incomplete, if some of your private sector years are missing or misrecorded, the SSA may be applying a larger WEP reduction than you're actually subject to. Action step. If you receive a non-covered pension and you're also collecting Social Security, pull up your earnings record at ssa.gov and count your years of substantial earnings. If you're close to a threshold that would reduce or eliminate the WEP, file SSA-7008 to correct any missing earnings, and then contact SSA to have your WEP recalculated. The Government Pension Offset, GPO, is the second provision triggered by that skipped box on the application. And unlike the WEP, which affects your own benefit, the GPO specifically affects spousal and survivor benefits. Here is what it does. If you receive a pension from a government job not covered by Social Security, the GPO reduces any spousal or survivor Social Security benefit you would otherwise receive by 2/3 of your government pension amount. Let me make that concrete with a real example. A retired teacher receives a state pension of $2,400 a month. Her husband worked a full career in the private sector, and his Social Security benefit is $2,800 a month. Without the GPO, she would be entitled to a spousal benefit of up to $1,400 a month, 50% of her husband's benefit. With the GPO, 2/3 of her $2,400 pension, which is $1,600, is subtracted from her $1,400 spousal benefit. $1,400 minus $1,600 is negative $200, so her spousal benefit is reduced to zero. The same calculation applies to survivor benefits. If her husband passes away and she would be entitled to his full $2,800 as a survivor benefit, the GPO subtracts $1,600 from that, leaving her with $1,200 a month instead of $2,800. Now here is where the challenge opportunity exists for the GPO. The GPO only applies to pensions from work not covered by Social Security. If any portion of your government pension is based on Social Security-covered employment, even partial coverage, that portion may not be subject to the GPO. And in some states, government workers were in jobs that switched from non-covered to Social Security-covered status partway through their career. If you worked in such a hybrid situation, the GPO calculation may be more favorable than the SSA initially applies. Additionally, there is a specific exemption to the GPO that most people have never heard of. If you were paying into Social Security in your last 60 months of government employment, meaning your job switched to Social Security coverage near the end of your career, you may be entirely exempt from the GPO action step. If you receive a government pension and your spousal or survivor benefit seems lower than you expected, or was reduced to zero, call SSA and ask specifically, is the government pension offset being applied to my benefit, and can you explain exactly how it was calculated? Then ask whether any portion of your pension was based on Social Security-covered employment that might reduce the GPO. Strategy number 3 is one that most seniors who have already filed for Social Security don't know exists, and it can put a lump sum of money in your pocket immediately. It is called retroactive benefits, and here is what it does. If you are past your full retirement age and you have not yet filed for Social Security, you can apply for benefits and request up to 6 months of retroactive payments. The SSA will pay you a lump sum covering the 6 months before your application date as if you had filed 6 months earlier. Let me show you what that means in real money. A person whose full retirement age benefit is $2,200 a month reaches full retirement age but delays filing while they continue working. 6 months later, they decide to file. They can request retroactive payments going back 6 months. That is 6 months times $2,200, a lump sum check of $13,200, paid immediately when they file. Now here is the trade-off you must understand before you request retroactive benefits, because this is the piece most people don't explain. Requesting retroactive benefits means your benefit is set at the amount you would have received 6 months ago, not the higher amount you would receive by filing today. In other words, you give up 6 months of delayed retirement credits in exchange for that lump sum. Whether it makes sense to take the retroactive lump sum or forego it and keep the higher ongoing benefit depends on your health, your financial situation, and how long you expect to collect. If you need the cash now, retroactive benefits can be a lifeline. If you're healthy and expect a long retirement, keeping the higher ongoing benefit is usually worth more over time. But here is the point that matters most. This option exists, and most people who qualify for it never ask for it. Action step. If you are past your full retirement age and have not yet filed, or if you filed recently and did not request retroactive benefits, call SSA and ask, "Am I eligible for retroactive Social Security payments, and what would the trade-off be between taking the lump sum versus the higher ongoing benefit?" Strategy number 4 is the one I covered briefly in the last video, but it deserves a full explanation here because it is one of the most powerful tools available to seniors who are already collecting Social Security and want to increase their check going forward. It is called voluntary suspension, and here is exactly how it works. Once you reach your full retirement age, you can contact the SSA and ask them to voluntarily suspend your Social Security payments. You stop receiving checks, and for every month your benefit is suspended, it grows by approximately 0.2%, which equals 8% per year. The maximum growth period is from your full retirement age to age 70, 3 years for most people born after 1960, whose full retirement age is 67. 3 years of 8% per year growth equals a 24% permanent increase in your monthly benefit. $2,000 becomes $2,480 every month for the rest of your life. And if you pass away, your surviving spouse inherits that higher $2,480 as their survivor benefit, not your lower original benefit. Now here is the important rule about voluntary suspension that most people don't know. While your benefit is suspended, any spousal benefit being paid based on your record is also suspended. Your spouse's spousal benefit cannot continue while yours is suspended. This means voluntary suspension is a strategy that must be evaluated as a couple, not individually. If your spouse is collecting a spousal benefit based on your record, suspending your benefit stops their spousal payments too. But for single seniors, widows and widowers, or couples where the spouse has their own benefit that is not dependent on the higher earner's record, voluntary suspension can be a powerful tool. Action step. If you are between your full retirement age and age 70, currently collecting Social Security, and either single or in a couple where your spouse has their own benefit, call SSA and ask about voluntary suspension. Ask them to calculate what your benefit would be if you suspended today and restarted at 70. Strategy number 5 addresses one of the most misunderstood rules in all of Social Security, the earnings test. And the misunderstanding around this rule is causing some seniors to unnecessarily limit their income, while causing others to unknowingly reduce their benefit. Here is how the earnings test works. If you claim Social Security before your full retirement age and you continue to work, the SSA reduces your benefit by $1 for every $2 you earn above a specific threshold. In 2025, that threshold is $22,320 per year. In the year you reach full retirement age, the threshold increases dramatically to $59,520, and the reduction is only $1 for every $3 earned above that threshold, only for the months before you reach full retirement age. And here is the most important part of the earnings test that most people never hear. Once you reach full retirement age, the earnings test disappears completely. You can earn any amount of money from work, $100,000, $200,000, it doesn't matter. And your Social Security benefit is not reduced by a single dollar. Now here is the piece that the earnings test explanation almost always leaves out, and it's the piece that changes how most people think about it. The benefits that were withheld due to the earnings test before full retirement age are not simply lost. They are credited back to you as an increase in your monthly benefit once you reach full retirement age. Let me explain that with a real example. A person claims Social Security at 62 and receives $1,400 a month. They continue working and earn above the threshold. So the SSA withholds 12 months of benefits over the next few years. That's 12 months of withheld payments. When they reach full retirement age, the SSA recalculates their benefit as if they had claimed 12 months later than they actually did. Their benefit goes up permanently, not by the exact withheld amount, but as a credit for the months not received. This means the earnings test is less of a permanent penalty and more of a temporary reduction that partially corrects itself later. Understanding this changes the decision about whether to claim early and keep working. For many seniors, the math is far more favorable than they assumed. Action step. If you are working and collecting Social Security before full retirement age, calculate your annual earnings against the $22,320 threshold. And if you've had benefits withheld due to the earnings test, ask SSA, has my benefit been adjusted upward to credit the months that were withheld? The final strategy on today's list is specifically for married couples, and it involves coordinating two Social Security claims in a way that maximizes the household's total lifetime income, rather than each individual's benefit independently. Most couples approach Social Security claiming as two separate decisions. Each person files when it makes sense for them individually. That approach leaves significant money on the table. The coordinated approach treats the couple as a single financial unit and asks, what combination of claiming ages and sequences produces the highest total household income over both spouses' expected lifetimes? Here is the general framework. In most couples, one spouse has significantly higher career earnings and therefore a significantly higher Social Security benefit. That spouse's benefit and their decision about when to claim has an outsized impact on two things: the household's ongoing income, and the survivor benefit the lower earning spouse will receive if the higher earner passes first. The general principle: the higher earning spouse should delay claiming as long as financially feasible, ideally to age 70, to maximize their own benefit and the survivor benefit. The lower earning spouse can claim earlier to bring income into the household while the higher earner delays. Let me show you the difference this makes. Couple A. Both spouses claim at 62. Higher earner gets $1,680 a month, reduced from $2,000 FRA benefit. Lower earner gets $900 a month. Total household, $2,580. If higher earner passes away, survivor gets $1,680. Couple B. Lower earner claims at 62 for $900. Higher earner delays to 70 and receives $2,480. Total household when both collect, $3,380. If higher earner passes away, survivor gets $2,480. $800 more per month while both are alive. $800 more per month for the survivor. Over a 20-year retirement, the difference in total household income is hundreds of thousands of dollars, from nothing more than a coordinated filing strategy. Action step. Before either spouse files, sit down together, pull up both of your SSA.gov benefit estimates and model at least 3 scenarios: both claim early, both claim at FRA, and coordinated delay strategy. Or call your local area agency on aging and ask for a free Social Security benefits counselor who can run these numbers for you. Every strategy I've covered today starts with the same first move, and it is not complicated. You call the Social Security Administration at 1-800-772-1213. You have your Social Security number ready, you have a notepad, and you ask specific named questions. Here are the specific questions to ask, word for word. Is the Windfall Elimination Provision being applied to my benefit, and can you explain how it was calculated? Is the government pension offset reducing my spousal or survivor benefit, and does any portion of my pension qualify for an exemption? Am I eligible for retroactive benefits, and what would the lump sum be versus the higher ongoing benefit? What would my benefit be if I voluntarily suspended today and restarted at age 70? Has my benefit been recalculated to credit any months that were withheld due to the earnings test? Write those down. Ask everyone. If the representative cannot answer one of them, ask to speak with a technical expert or call back. The SSA has specialists for complex claiming situations, and you are entitled to access them. Here is your complete action list. 1. Go to ssa.gov this week and pull up your full earnings record. Check every year. Look for missing or incorrect amounts. 2. If you receive a pension from government or non-covered employment, call SSA and ask specifically about WEP and GPO and how they are being applied to your benefit. 3. Count your years of substantial Social Security covered earnings. If you're near 30 years, correcting your earnings record could eliminate the WEP entirely. 4. If you are past your full retirement age and have not yet filed, ask about retroactive benefits and model the lump sum versus higher ongoing benefit trade-off. 5. If you are between full retirement age and 70 and currently collecting, ask about voluntary suspension and what your benefit would be if you restarted at 70. 6. If you are working before full retirement age, compare your annual earnings to the $22,320 threshold and understand how any withheld benefits will be credited back. 7. If you are married, model at least 3 claiming scenarios before either spouse files. The coordinated strategy is almost always worth more than 2 independent decisions. 8. Call 1-800-772-1213 with the specific questions from this video written down in front of you. The box that most seniors skip is not just a checkbox. It is the entry point to a set of rules, some that reduce your benefit, some that protect it, and some that can increase it, that the SSA applies automatically but explains almost never. Now you know what those rules are. Now you know what to ask. If this video helped you, subscribe. Every week I cover the Social Security rules, Medicare rights, and financial protections that most seniors only hear about years after they needed them. Share this with every senior you know who filed their Social Security application without asking any of these questions. That share could be worth hundreds of dollars a month to them. I'll see you in the next one.